3 years ago, I had $38 in my checking account and a car that needed $600 worth of work to pass inspection. I remember sitting in the parking lot of the mechanic shop doing exactly the kind of math we've talked about in this series. The 2 a.m., stomach in your throat kind of math. Except it was 3 in the afternoon and I was wide awake for all of it. That was the day I decided I was building an emergency fund, no matter how small or slow it had to be. Today I'm walking you through exactly how I did it, dollar by dollar, because $1,000 sounds small until you don't have it, and then it sounds impossible. It's neither. My name's Mike. Leave a like. Let's get into it. First, I want to explain why $1,000 and not some bigger, more impressive number. You hear a lot of financial advice telling you to save 3 to 6 months of expenses before you do anything else. That advice isn't wrong, but it is frankly useless to someone standing where I was standing. Telling a broke person to save $15,000 is like telling someone who's never run a mile to go run a marathon. They won't. Not because they're lazy, but because the goal is so far from where they're standing that their brain doesn't even register it as achievable, so it doesn't try. $1,000 is different. $1,000 is close enough to real that your brain believes it's possible, and far enough to actually cover the things that wreck people: the tire, the vet bill, the security deposit shortfall. It's the smallest number that changes your whole nervous system. Step 1. Separate it. The first thing I did wasn't save money. It was open a separate savings account at a completely different bank than my checking account, on purpose. This sounds small, but it matters enormously. If your emergency fund lives right next to your spending money, you will borrow from it constantly and never notice, because it's one click away. Putting real friction between the money and your daily spending. A different bank, no debit card attached, a slight delay to transfer it out, turns it from money I might spend into money that's actually protected. This step costs nothing and takes 10 minutes, and it's the single most underrated move in this entire process. Step 2. Find the first $20. Here's where I want to be honest with you instead of motivational. I did not find some brilliant, secret $200 a month savings hack. I found $20. That's it. I went through every subscription I was paying for and canceled the ones I genuinely wasn't using. There were 3, and together they were about $19.97 a month. I didn't cut coffee. I didn't cut anything that actually made my life better. I canceled things I'd forgotten I was paying for. If you go check your bank statement right now, I'd bet real money you will find your own version of that $20. It's not going to feel like much. That's fine. This step isn't about the amount. It's about proving to yourself the process works at all. Mid-video, pattern interrupt. Here's the part almost nobody talks about, and it's the part that actually made the difference for me. I automated the transfer of that $20 the same day my paycheck landed, before I could see the money in my regular account and decide I needed it for something else. This is the single biggest lever in the entire process, and it has almost nothing to do with willpower. If you rely on remembering to save whatever's left at the end of the month, there will never be anything left at the end of the month. That's not a discipline problem. That's just how spending works. It expands to fill whatever is available. Automating it removes the decision entirely. The money moves before you're emotionally involved in the choice. Step 3. The one-time boosts. Alongside the small automatic transfers, I look for one-time boosts that didn't require ongoing sacrifice. I sold things I wasn't using, old electronics, clothes that didn't fit, a bike that had been sitting in a closet for 2 years. Altogether, that was about $260 in one weekend for stuff that was doing nothing but taking up space. I also picked up a handful of hours doing something small on the side for about 6 weeks. Not a whole new business, just enough extra hours to speed things up. None of this was glamorous. None of it would make a good highlight reel. But it worked because I wasn't trying to be impressive. I was trying to get to $1,000. Step 4. Protect it from yourself. Here's the part that almost derailed me. About 6 weeks in, with maybe $400 saved, something came up, a concert, nothing important, and I almost pulled from the fund. This is the moment that determines whether people actually finish or quietly go back to zero. What got me through it wasn't willpower. It was a rule I set at the very beginning. This account is for genuine emergencies only, defined narrowly, in writing before I was ever tempted. A concert is not an emergency. A car that won't start is. Writing the rule down before the temptation showed up meant I didn't have to make the decision in the moment emotionally. I just had to check it against a rule I had already made when I was thinking clearly. It took me about 4 months to hit $1,000. Not fast, not a hack, just consistent. And here's what actually happened once I hit it, which surprised me more than the number itself. The 2 a.m. math stopped. Not because $1,000 makes you rich, it doesn't, not even close, but because it puts a floor under the free fall. The car repair that used to mean a payday loan now just means a slightly smaller number in that account. The panic didn't have anything left to grab onto. That's the entire function of this number. It's not about wealth. It's about giving your nervous system permission to stop running the emergency simulation on a loop. Once you hit $1,000, don't stop, but also don't panic and try to jump straight to 6 months of expenses either. Let it build the same way it started, small, automatic, boring. The habit you just built is worth more than the dollar amount. You prove to yourself the system works. That proof is the actual asset here, more than the $1,000 itself. This exact process, small, automated, boring, repeatable, is the foundation of everything I teach inside the community I run, because it's what actually works for people starting from real zero, not theoretical zero. If you want the full step-by-step version of this with the templates and account structure I personally use, it's linked below. John, the guy we've been following through this whole series, the one doing math in the dark and standing frozen in the cereal aisle. He's not a real person, but he's also every person who's ever felt exactly what you might be feeling right now. The panic is real. What it does to your brain is real and measurable. And the way out of it isn't some dramatic overnight transformation. It's $20 at a time, automated, protected, boring. That's it. That is the whole secret. I am not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only, and what you do with your own money is on you. I'll see you in the next one.